The message came on a Tuesday. Allison Mitchell was floating in the observation module of the International Space Station when the communication system beeped. At first, she thought it was Houston calling with routine updates. It wasn't. "Captain Mitchell, we're picking up an unusual signal from the far side of the moon," said the voice of Kyle Rogers, her communications officer. "It doesn't match any known satellite or spacecraft patterns." Allison pushed herself across the module to the nearest terminal. "Send it through." The signal wasn't random noise. It had clear patterns, mathematical sequences that repeated with precision. Within hours, scientists across Earth confirmed what the ISS crew already suspected. This was not human-made. 3 days later, the source revealed itself. A sleek vessel, unlike anything in human design, emerged from behind the moon and established orbit around Earth. News channels worldwide interrupted their broadcasts. Social media exploded. Humanity held its collective breath. The ship sent a message in perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. We represent the Galactic Council, a federation of sentient species. We come in peace and request to meet with your leaders." Within 48 hours, the United Nations convened an emergency session. John Harrison, a respected diplomat known for his level head, was appointed as Earth's temporary ambassador. The meeting was set for neutral ground, the newly completed International Peace Center in Geneva. The alien delegation arrived in a smaller craft. Their leader, who called himself Ambassador Exictol, had 4 arms, iridescent blue skin, and eyes that seemed to take in more light than they reflected. He represented the Vorminids, one of the founding species of the Galactic Council. "We have observed your world for decades," Exictol explained to the assembled human leaders. "Your recent advancements in space travel have qualified Earth for initial contact assessment." President Laura Wilson leaned forward. "Assessment for what purpose?" "For observer status within the Galactic Council," Exictol replied. "The Council includes 127 species across this section of the galaxy. We maintain peace, regulate trade, and share technology among worthy civilizations." The words "worthy civilizations" didn't go unnoticed by Harrison. "And what makes a civilization worthy in your estimation?" Exictol blinked slowly. "Technological advancement, cultural stability, biological maturity." He paused. "By these metrics, humanity is developing, but remains in its infancy." The room grew tense. Defense Secretary Garcia whispered something to President Wilson, who frowned. "Ambassador Exictol," Harrison said carefully, "humanity has sent probes beyond our solar system, cured diseases that once decimated our population, and created art that speaks across generations. We may be young by your standards, but we are hardly infants." Exictol made a gesture that might have been apologetic. "I meant no offense. By our measurements, humans are barely sentient by Council standards. Your species lives such brief lives, hardly enough time to develop true wisdom. Your technology is primitive, and your societal structures unstable." A murmur of indignation spread through the human delegation. "However," Exictol continued, "the Council recognizes potential when it sees it. We offer Earth observer status, with an evaluation for potential membership in 500 Earth years." 500 years. Harrison couldn't hide his shock. "An exceptionally generous time frame," Exictol noted. "Many species wait millennia." The terms were outlined over the following days. Earth would receive limited access to interstellar travel technology as a developmental aid. Certain technologies would remain restricted: advanced weapons, energy systems, and faster-than-light travel capabilities. "We must ensure developing species evolve responsibly," Exictol explained. As the Vorminid delegation prepared to leave, Harrison approached Exictol privately. 500 years is a long time to wait for a seat at the table," he said. Exictol's upper limbs moved in what Harrison had learned was their equivalent of a shrug. "The Council has existed for over 20,000 years. We are patient. You humans should learn patience too." Harrison watched the alien ship depart from the observation deck of the Peace Center. Earth had made first contact, but Harrison couldn't shake the feeling that they had somehow been found wanting. The stars seemed more distant now, not closer. "We'll show them," he whispered to himself. "Somehow, we'll show them." 5 years passed quickly. Using the limited technology provided by the Galactic Council, humanity established small colonies on Mars and Europa. The red soil of Mars now housed 3,000 people in dome structures, while Europa's underground chambers sheltered 500 brave souls beneath its icy surface. Lisa Pearson checked her reflection in the polished wall of the transport ship. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, her blue uniform pristine. As Earth's chief engineer and lead diplomat for the first assessment, she carried the hopes of 8 billion humans on her shoulders. 2 minutes until docking at Centauri Prime, announced the ship's eye. Lisa took a deep breath. The massive space station that served as the Galactic Council headquarters orbited a star 26 light-years from Earth. Without the Council's provided transport technology, the journey would have taken centuries instead of weeks. The docking proceeded smoothly. Lisa led her team of 12 experts, scientists, diplomats, and cultural attaches through the airlock. They were greeted by a delegation of various alien species. Some walked on multiple legs, others floated above the ground, and a few appeared as merely shimmering clouds of light. "Welcome, humans," said a tall, insect-like being with compound eyes. "I am Evaluator Krek of the Assessment Committee. Follow me." The assessment began immediately. The human delegation was separated, each member taken to different examination rooms. Lisa found herself in a stark white chamber with 7 alien observers watching her from elevated seats. "Demonstrate your understanding of quantum field manipulation," one demanded without introduction. "Explain your species' approach to biological enhancement," said another. "Show us your mathematical models for predicting societal evolution," requested a third. Hour after hour, the questions continued. Lisa answered as best she could, drawing on her knowledge of Earth's most advanced sciences. But she noticed something troubling. The aliens weren't impressed. They exchanged glances that seemed dismissive, made notes with what appeared to be disappointment. During a brief recess, Lisa found a quiet corridor where she could gather her thoughts. A small, furred alien with large eyes approached her. "Your assessment is not going well," the creature said softly. "I've noticed," Lisa replied. "I'm Lisa Pearson. I am rule of the Calyx. We were where you are now, 800 years ago." Lisa studied him carefully. "And now?" "We are still observer status, like 38 other species here." Rule glanced around nervously. "The Council has a pattern. They keep certain species at arm's length forever." "Why would they do that?" "Power remains with the founding species, the Vorminids, the Telkar, the Zun Collective. They control everything. The rest of us, we serve." Before Lisa could respond, Evaluator Krek appeared at the end of the corridor. "Human Pearson, your recess is over." The final day of assessment ended with a formal hearing. The human delegation stood before the full council, representatives from all 127 member species, though Lisa now understood that most were merely observers without voting power. "The assessment committee has reached its decision," announced High Counselor Vex, a being composed of what looked like floating crystal shards. "Humanity has failed to meet minimum criteria for advancement. Your next evaluation will be in 200 Earth years." Lisa stepped forward. 200 years. The original agreement was for observer status with evaluation for membership in 500 years total. We were told this assessment was to gauge our progress. "Your progress is deemed insufficient," Vex stated coldly. "The Council has determined humans require more developmental time than initially estimated." Later, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth with the devastating news, Rule found Lisa again. "This is how it always goes," he whispered, pressing a small data crystal into her hand. "But perhaps your species can find another way. This contains information that might help. technology the Council doesn't share with observer species. Lisa closed her fingers around the crystal. Why help us? Because in 800 years, I've seen what the Council truly is. Not a galactic community, but an empire. And empires need to be challenged. The journey back to Earth was quiet. Lisa spent the time studying the stolen data, her mind already racing with possibilities the Council never intended humanity to have. The room fell silent as Lisa finished her report. Around the oval table sat the leaders of Earth's major nations, their faces showing a mix of anger and shock. 200 years. President Kevin Wright stood up, his hands pressed against the table. They expect us to wait 2 centuries for another evaluation. Lisa nodded. The Council believes we're developmentally stunted. They see our short lifespans as a fundamental flaw. And the technology they gave us, asked General Samantha Jones, deliberately limited. It's like giving a bicycle to someone while keeping cars, planes, and rockets for yourself. Lisa pulled out the small crystal Rule had given her. But I have something that might change everything. The data from Rule's crystal revealed startling information. The Council had been systematically holding back certain species for thousands of years, creating a 2-tiered galaxy where the founding races maintained control. We have 2 options, President Wright said after reviewing the information. Continue as good little observers, or forge our own path. The vote was nearly unanimous. Earth would withdraw from Council oversight. The public announcement was carefully worded. Humanity thanked the Council for their guidance, but declared our intention to develop independently within our solar system. Behind closed doors, a different plan took shape. The world's governments united under the Terran Coalition, pooling resources to reverse engineer and improve upon the technology they had been given. Dr. Frank Martinez, a quantum physicist from Mexico City, led the science team tasked with understanding the Council's faster-than-light technology. They've deliberately crippled what they gave us, he explained, pointing to schematics projected on the wall. It's like they removed key components and replaced them with inferior parts. Lisa leaned closer to the display. Can we fix it? Better. Frank smiled. I think we can improve it. Their approach to quantum physics is strange, almost as if they're working around fundamental principles rather than with them. 3 months into the project, the Council sent representatives to Earth. They arrived unannounced at the United Nations headquarters in New York. We detect unauthorized research, stated Ambassador Exictal coldly. This violates observer status protocols. Cease immediately or face sanctions. President Wright maintained a pleasant smile. We're simply trying to understand the gifts you've provided. Surely learning is permitted. Learning, yes. Experimentation, no. The Vorminid's eyes narrowed. We will be monitoring your activities closely. After the Council representatives departed, the real work moved underground. Literally, deep beneath the lunar surface, away from prying eyes, the Coalition built research facilities. Supply ships traveled to the Moon under the guise of expanding the lunar colony. 1 year into the project, Dr. Martinez had a breakthrough. He burst into Lisa's office, his eyes wide with excitement. I found it. The flaw in their system. He spread papers across her desk. The Council's FTL technology uses what they call dimension folding, but they're ignoring quantum entanglement principles completely. What does that mean in simple terms? Lisa asked. It means we can build something better. Much better. Frank lowered his voice. We can develop an FTL system that doesn't just match theirs, it surpasses it. Lisa immediately called President Wright. We need more resources for the lunar facilities. Frank's made a breakthrough. The Coalition diverted additional funding and personnel to the Moon. From the outside, it appeared Earth was simply expanding its colonies. In reality, humanity was building its future. 6 months later, Council enforcers discovered one of the smaller lunar facilities. The confrontation was brief but violent. 2 human scientists died, and the facility was destroyed, but most of the research had already been transferred to the main complex. We can't hide forever, Lisa told the emergency coalition meeting. Sooner or later, they'll find everything. President Wright nodded grimly. Then we don't hide. We run. How close is the new drive system? 3 months from prototype testing, Frank replied. You have 6 weeks, the president said. After that, we need to be gone. 10 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council. In a hidden chamber deep beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Frank Martinez stared at the gleaming engine before him. It was beautiful, a perfect blend of human ingenuity and alien concepts. Is it ready? Lisa Pearson asked, her voice echoing in the vast room. Her once dark hair now showed streaks of gray, evidence of the stress of the past decade. Frank nodded. The final tests were successful. We're calling it the Alcubierre-Martins drive. The drive was unlike anything the Council had shared. Instead of forcing space to bend around a ship, it created a bubble of altered reality that moved through normal space. The energy requirements were 1/10 of the Council's systems, and the theoretical speed was 5 times greater. How soon can we install it in the ships? Lisa asked. The first one is already fitted. The Independence is ready for its test flight. Word of the completed drive spread quickly through the coalition leadership. What had begun as a desperate attempt to catch up to the Council had evolved into something more. Humanity had not just copied alien technology. They had improved it. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Human theoretical physics, considered primitive by the Council, had approached the problem from a completely different angle. Where the Council built machines to brute force their way through space, humans found elegant solutions based on the underlying fabric of reality itself. The Council doesn't understand their own technology, Frank explained to the coalition board. They've been using the same systems for thousands of years, copying without truly innovating. Meanwhile, Carol Weber, once a UN diplomat, and now the coalition's chief of intelligence, had been building bridges, using encrypted communications hidden within normal transmissions to Council worlds. She had established contact with other developmental species who chafed under Council restrictions. We're not alone in our frustration, she reported. The Krell have been observer status for 3,000 years, the Novans for 2,000, the Peltari for 1,500. All of them have technologies the Council restricts. Can we trust them? President Wright asked. I believe so. They face the same treatment we do, permanently locked out of full Council membership. A network formed between these species, sharing knowledge and resources outside Council oversight. Each brought unique perspectives to problems the others couldn't solve alone. It was collaboration the Council never intended or believed possible. The Coalition's plans accelerated when Council sensors detected unusual energy readings from the Moon. A fleet of enforcement vessels entered Earth orbit, demanding immediate inspections of all lunar facilities. We're out of time, Lisa told the emergency command meeting. If they find the drive, they'll destroy it and place Earth under direct control. The decision was made. That night, 4 ships, the Independence, Liberty, Defiance, and Enterprise, launched from hidden bays on the far side of the Moon. Each carried 200 of Earth's brightest minds, along with their families. The ships were loaded with manufacturing equipment, scientific tools, and cultural archives, the seeds of a new human civilization. Council ships detected the launches and moved to intercept. But they were too late. The human vessels activated their drives, creating ripples in spacetime that the Council's sensors couldn't track. Where did they go? Demanded the Vorminid commander. No one could answer. The Alcubierre-Martins drive didn't just move ships faster than the Council's technology. It moved them differently, leaving no trail to follow. The 4 ships rendezvoused at predetermined coordinates far beyond Council space, in an uncharted nebula that blocked most scanning technologies. Captain Alan Foster of the Independence sent a simple message back to Earth, bounced through relays to hide its origin. We have arrived safely. Operation Sanctuary begins now. On Earth, Coalition leaders deleted all records of the drive and the ship's destination. If the Council wanted answers, they would find none. Humanity had taken its first step toward true independence, not just from the Council, but from the limitations others had placed upon them. The Argon Nebula glowed with soft blue and green light. Hidden within its dust clouds, the 4 human ships found a home. Near a small, stable star, they began building what Admiral Paul Bennett called New Horizon. "We need a place not just to hide, but to grow," he told the gathered leaders. A tall man with dark skin and serious eyes, Bennett had once commanded Earth's space defense forces. Now he commanded humanity's future. The first structure was simple, a central hub connecting the 4 ships. Over the following months, this grew into a proper space station. Mining drones collected metals from nearby asteroids. Manufacturing units worked nonstop, converting raw materials into living spaces. Dr. Frank Martinez continued improving the Alcubierre Martins drive. With each refinement, the ships could travel faster and farther. Small scout vessels began mapping the surrounding regions of space, always careful to avoid Council territory. "We need allies," Lisa Pearson said during a planning meeting. "We can't stand against the Council alone." Carol Weber agreed. Using the improved drives, she led diplomatic missions to contact the other species they had secretly communicated with from Earth. The Krell, reptilian beings known for their engineering skills. The Novans, with their deep understanding of biology. The Pelteri, masters of energy systems. Representatives from each species visited New Horizon. They arrived cautious but left impressed. "You have accomplished in 1 year what took our people centuries under Council restrictions," said Zur, the Krell ambassador, his scaled skin reflecting the station lights. More came. Species that had been denied Council membership or kept as eternal observers found their way to the growing station. Each brought knowledge, technology, and resources. New Horizon expanded rapidly, adding specialized sections for each species' needs, different atmospheres, gravity levels, and temperatures. 6 months after establishing New Horizon, the station's population reached 10,000. The original human contingent of 800 was now just one community among many. Admiral Bennett implemented strict security protocols. Every ship entering the nebula followed complex routes designed to lose any pursuit. Communication with Earth happened through a series of relays, nearly impossible to trace. Despite these precautions, Council spies eventually infiltrated New Horizon. Security Chief Olivia Grant, a former FBI agent with sharp eyes and sharper instincts, caught the first spy, a shape-shifting morph who had taken the form of a human engineer. "We have 2 options," she told Admiral Bennett. "Increase security further, or use this to our advantage." They chose the second option. Instead of exposing the spy, they fed him carefully selected information, hints of divisions among the human leadership, technical problems with the drive systems, and supply shortages. When the spy left New Horizon, he carried back a picture of a struggling settlement on the verge of collapse. Meanwhile, the true New Horizon flourished. The combined knowledge of multiple species led to advancements none could have achieved alone. The Krell improved human manufacturing techniques. The Novans helped develop medicines that extended human lifespans. The Pelteri enhanced the efficiency of the station's power systems. "We're creating something unique here," Lisa told Admiral Bennett as they stood in the observation dome, watching ships dock and depart. "Not just a hiding place, but a true alternative to the Council." "That's been the plan all along," Bennett replied. Operation Sanctuary was just the beginning. Now we moved to Phase 2. That phase became clear when representatives from all species living on New Horizon gathered in the newly completed Grand Assembly Hall. Admiral Bennett stood before them, Lisa and Frank at his side. "For too long, the Council has decided which species are worthy of respect and which must wait centuries for recognition," Bennett said. "Today, we declare that system obsolete. I propose we form a new organization." 20 years had passed since first contact. New Horizon was no longer just a space station. It had grown into a massive structure housing over 100,000 beings from 17 different species. What had begun as a human initiative had evolved into something greater, something unprecedented in the galaxy. Ambassador Daniel Collins studied his reflection in the mirror, straightening his formal blue jacket. At 42, his brown hair showed hints of gray at the temples, but his eyes remained bright with purpose. Today marked a turning point in the cooperative's history. The Council still doesn't know the full extent of what we've built, Lisa Pearson said as she entered his quarters. Now in her 60s, she moved more slowly, but her mind remained sharp. Our disinformation campaign has worked well. Daniel nodded. Let's hope it continues to work a little longer. We need more time. His mission was dangerous but essential. While the cooperative had grown in secret, Daniel would now travel openly to worlds throughout the galaxy, carrying an invitation to join a new galactic order. The ship that carried him was small and unremarkable from the outside, deliberately designed to look like a standard merchant vessel. Inside, however, it contained the most advanced technology the cooperative had developed. Remember, trust your instincts, Admiral Bennett told him before he departed. Some species will be ready to join us, others won't. Make your offers carefully. Daniel's first stop was Krell Prime, the homeworld of their reptilian allies. While the Krell on New Horizon were mostly engineers and scientists, their planet contained millions who still lived under Council restrictions. Landing at the capital city spaceport, Daniel presented himself as a human trader. The local Council representatives paid him little attention. Humans were still viewed as a primitive species of little consequence. In secret, Daniel met with leaders of the Krell underground movement. We offer not just technology, but true partnership, he explained. The cooperative treats all species as equals, regardless of how long they've been spacefaring. Similar meetings took place on dozens of worlds over the following months. The Novans, the Pelteri, the Crystalline Kerr, the Atmospheric Vosh. All species held back by Council restrictions. Some meetings ended in immediate agreement, others in cautious interest, and a few in polite rejection. On Telonis, a world of ocean-dwelling beings, Daniel faced his first real danger. A Council security force raided the meeting place minutes after he arrived. He barely escaped, racing back to his ship through crowded streets with agents in pursuit. As his ship broke orbit, a Council cruiser moved to intercept. It was faster and more heavily armed than his vessel, or so they thought. When the cruiser came within firing range, Daniel activated his ship's true drive system. The vessel seemed to blur, then vanished, leaving confused Council officers staring at empty space. Back at New Horizon, the cooperative's technological development continued at an extraordinary pace. The combination of different species working together created innovations that none could have achieved alone. The Krell's understanding of material science combined with human theoretical physics led to new types of armor and construction techniques. The Novan's biological expertise, merged with Pelteri energy manipulation, created medical treatments that could cure diseases once thought terminal. Most importantly, the cooperative developed unique communication technology that allowed instant transmission across any distance, something the Council believed impossible. Based on principles of quantum entanglement, these Q-links connected all cooperative outposts without detectable signals. News of the cooperative began to spread despite the Council's attempts to suppress it. On Council worlds, whispers passed between species that had never been given a voice. On some planets, open rebellions broke out as populations demanded the right to join the new alliance. The High Council, alarmed by these developments, held an emergency session. This human-led coalition threatens the stability we have maintained for 20,000 years, declared High Councilor Vex. They offer technology we have deliberately restricted. They challenge our authority. This cannot stand. The Council made its decision. The cooperative would be designated an illegal organization, and the full might of the Council fleet would be mobilized to eliminate this threat. Find their base, Vex commanded Grand Admiral Zex. Destroy it completely. Alarms blared throughout New Horizon. On the main command deck, Admiral Bennett watched as the tactical display filled with red dots, council ships, hundreds of them, approaching from multiple directions. "They found us," said Olivia Grant, her face grim. "Scout ships report the council fleet includes 5 dreadnoughts and over 30 heavy cruisers. They'll be in weapons range in under 2 hours." The council had finally located their hidden base. A morph spy had managed to place a tracking device on it. 50 years had passed since first contact. The grand meeting hall of Central Station, once called New Horizon, was filled with representatives from over 70 species. The room hummed with dozens of languages, translated instantly by small devices worn behind each being's ear. Lisa Pearson, now 85, moved slowly to the podium. Her hair had turned white, and age had bent her back, but her eyes remained sharp and determined. As Supreme Ambassador of the Galactic Cooperative, she would lead these historic talks. Delegates of the Cooperative and representatives of the Council, she began, her voice amplified throughout the hall. "Welcome to the New Concord Summit. In the 5 years since Protocol Avalon, the galaxy had changed dramatically. After the Cooperative's network of stations revealed itself, nearly a third of Council worlds had declared their independence. Some joined the Cooperative immediately. Others remained neutral, waiting to see which side would prevail. The Council, facing this unprecedented crisis, had finally agreed to negotiations. Seated across from Lisa was Ambassador Exictol, the same Vorminid who had first visited Earth 50 years earlier. Age had dulled the blue sheen of his skin, but his 4 arms still moved with precise gestures as he spoke. "The Council recognizes the unusual situation we now face," he said carefully. "While we maintain that the Cooperative's actions violated galactic law, we acknowledge the reality before us." That reality was stark. The Cooperative's technological advancement had far outpaced the Council's. The combined knowledge of dozens of species, freed from artificial restrictions, had created marvels. Medical advances developed by human and Novan scientists had extended human lifespans by decades. Energy systems created by human and Pelteri engineers provided unlimited clean power. Transportation networks using the principles of the Alcubierre-Martinez drive allowed instant travel across the galaxy. These advancements weren't hoarded. The Cooperative shared them freely with all member worlds, raising living standards across thousands of planets. Even some long-standing council members had begun questioning the old ways. "Today we propose a new structure for galactic governance," Lisa continued. "Not the Cooperative absorbing the Council, nor the Council containing the Cooperative, but something new, the Galactic Assembly, where all species have equal representation regardless of their age, technology level, or population size." The negotiations lasted weeks. Old powers resisted change, while newer voices demanded it. Through it all, Lisa guided the discussions with the wisdom gained from half a century of struggle. On the final day, the treaty was signed. The Galactic Council would be reformed into the Galactic Assembly. All restrictions on technology sharing would be lifted. Every sentient species would have one representative with equal voting rights. As the delegates celebrated, Exictol approached Lisa privately. "I must confess something," he said, his voice low. "When I first met humans, I truly believed you were primitive, incapable of greatness." Lisa smiled. "And now? Now I understand what we missed. The Council valued stability above all, maintaining the same systems for 20,000 years. We called it wisdom, but it was stagnation." He gestured around the room. "Humans brought change because you refused to accept limitations placed upon you by others." "That's always been our strength," Lisa replied. "Not our technology, but our determination." 3 months later, at the newly established Academy of Interspecies Studies on Earth, Lisa stood before a class of young students, humans and aliens learning together. Among them was her granddaughter, Samantha Pearson, recently appointed commander of the exploration vessel Unity. "Tomorrow," Lisa told them, "Commander Pearson will lead the first joint human-alien expedition beyond the known galaxy. a journey that would have been impossible under the old council restrictions. Samantha stood, her uniform crisp and new. We go not as conquerors or colonizers, but as explorers. Not as separate species, but as a united front. The stars beyond our galaxy have waited billions of years to be discovered. It's time we introduced ourselves. That night, Lisa stood at the window of her apartment, looking up at the stars. From being denied a seat at someone else's table, humanity had helped build a new table where everyone sat as equals. She smiled. It had been quite a journey.